Juwoo Park stood at her bedroom window, staring at the night sky. The stars seemed to wink at her, as if sharing a secret. In her hands, she held the letter that would change everything. An acceptance to the Galactic Academy of Advanced Sciences. 50,000 credits. She whispered to herself, the number both thrilling and terrifying. Her small apartment in Seoul felt even smaller now. Models of spacecraft and posters of distant planets covered her walls. Dreams she had nurtured since childhood. The acceptance letter promised to transform those dreams into reality. Her communication device chimed. It was her mother calling. "Did you get my message?" her mother asked, worry clear in her voice. "That's too much money, Juwoo. My friend's daughter went to Seoul National University for a fraction of that cost." "Mom, this isn't just any school," Juwoo replied, trying to keep her excitement in check. "The Galactic Academy trains students from all over the Milky Way. Their graduates work on the most advanced ships and stations." Her mother sighed. "I know how much this means to you. But something doesn't feel right. Why would they select someone from Earth? We've only had official contact with the Galactic Council for 5 years." "Because I'm brilliant," Juwoo said with a small smile. "My application research on adapting Earth plants for space habitats impressed them." Later that night, Juwoo calculated her savings again. Between her part-time job and the small inheritance from her grandmother, she had just enough for the first year's tuition. The academy promised work-study opportunities for subsequent years. 2 weeks later, Juwoo boarded the orbital shuttle. Her few possessions were packed into one suitcase. As Earth grew smaller below, tears formed in her eyes. She would miss her home, but the stars were calling. The transfer station buzzed with activity. Species Juwoo had only seen in broadcasts moved around her. The blue-skinned being with 4 arms operated the security scanner. A pair of small, furry creatures chittered in a language no human could pronounce. "First time off-planet?" asked a human woman working at the transfer desk. Juwoo nodded. "You'll get used to it," the woman said kindly. "The Academy shuttle arrives in 1 hour. Gate 7. The Academy shuttle was sleek and white, with the school's emblem, 3 stars in a triangle, emblazoned on the side. Inside, about 20 other new students waited nervously. Most were non-human, but Juwoo spotted 2 other humans, a tall boy from Brazil and a girl from Kenya. As the shuttle departed, a hologram appeared in the center of the cabin. It showed a magnificent campus floating in space, with crystal domes and elegant spires. "Welcome, new students," the recording began. "You are joining the most elite educational institution in 7 star systems. For over 300 years, the Galactic Academy has produced the finest minds in science, engineering, and interspecies diplomacy." Juwoo watched in awe as the hologram displayed laboratories filled with technology beyond Earth's capabilities, libraries containing knowledge from hundreds of worlds, and observatories pointed toward unexplored regions of space. After a 6-hour journey, the ship approached what looked like a small moon. As they got closer, Juwoo could see it was actually a massive space station. Parts of it gleamed with the same architecture shown in the hologram, but other sections looked older, with slight discoloration. The shuttle docked smoothly. When the doors opened, a tall man in an impeccable uniform waited. "Welcome to the Galactic Academy of Advanced Sciences. I am Director Do-Yeon Kim," he announced, his voice melodious and confident. Juwoo was surprised to see another Korean in such a high position. His features were perfect, almost too perfect, and his smile revealed teeth of startling whiteness. "You have been chosen because you represent the finest mind your worlds have to offer," Director Kim continued. "Your tuition has secured you a place in history. The advances you will make here will echo across the galaxy for generations." As they were led through corridors to their quarters, Juwoo noticed small inconsistencies. Some equipment looked unused. A few doors were marked "Maintenance, Keep Out" with security locks. The few staff they passed seemed to avoid eye contact. That night, in her private room, Juwoo unpacked her belongings. The room was comfortable but basic, not quite matching the luxury shown in the recruitment materials. Director Kim's final words echoed in her mind. Remember, you are not just students. You are investments in the future. Something about the way he said investments made Ju shiver. Still, as she looked out her window at the star-filled void, excitement overcame her doubts. She was finally among the stars, and tomorrow her real education would begin. Retrice F. Ju sat in the xenobiology lab, watching instructor Taedong explain the digestion system of a Loraxian sand-dweller. For the third time this month, he was using the same hologram model with the same prepared script. When a student asked about practical observation of actual specimens, Taeyong smiled tightly. Our live specimens are currently in quarantine. Next week, perhaps. Next week never seemed to come. Ju looked around at the lab equipment. It was clean and shiny, but much of it remained in sealed containers. The genetic sequencers, supposedly top-of-the-line models, had manufacturing dates from 8 years ago. After class, Ju approached her classmate Minho, who was from a human colony on Proxima Centauri V. Is it just me, or does something feel off about this place? She asked quietly. Minho glanced around before answering. The quantum physics lab has equipment that doesn't work. When I asked about it, Instructor Yunju said it was too advanced for first-year students. That night in her room, Ju pulled out her personal tablet. She had modified it with components purchased from the station's market. Nothing fancy, but enough to run some basic network probes. It wasn't exactly allowed, but her curiosity was stronger than her fear of breaking rules. 3 hours later, she had found a way into the Academy systems. What she discovered made her blood run cold. The Academy's accreditation documents were forgeries. The Galactic Education Council had no record of approving the school. Most alarming, the faculty profiles contained impossible credentials. Taeyong's biography claimed he studied under Professor Zix of Centauri University, but Centauri University had no record of a Professor Zix ever teaching there. Ju dug deeper. Financial records showed enormous payments coming in from various corporations, most with names she didn't recognize. But these weren't donations. They were sales. Student Concept Acquisition Plan. One folder was labeled. Inside were detailed records of student projects, innovations, and even casual ideas mentioned in class discussions. Each had been packaged, patented, and sold to the highest bidder. Ju found her own name in the database. Her application research on space habitats had been sold to Nexus Industries for 30,000 credits, more than half of what she paid in tuition. They're not teaching us, she whispered to herself. They're mining us. The next morning, Ju went to breakfast with dark circles under her eyes. The cafeteria food, supposedly prepared with authentic recipes from 17 worlds, tasted like bland protein paste with different coloring each day. She spotted Hana, another student from Earth, and sat down beside her. Have you noticed anything strange about the advanced propulsion class? Ju asked casually. Hana looked up. You mean how we never actually build anything? Or how Instructor Dongyun gets nervous when we ask detailed questions? Exactly. Ju nodded, relieved she wasn't alone in her suspicions. My brother attended Lunar Tech Institute, Hana continued. He says first-year students there build working ion thrusters. Here, we just draw diagrams and run simulations. Later that day, Ju slipped into the administrative wing during lunch. Using a maintenance access card she had cloned the night before, she entered a restricted area marked Archives. Inside was a large room filled with storage units. Each contained physical copies of student work, thousands of projects dating back decades. On the wall was a map of the galaxy with hundreds of pins marking different worlds. They'd been doing this for years, she realized, to students from all over. A noise outside made her heart race. She quickly took pictures with her tablet and slipped out through a service corridor. That evening, she met Minho and Hana in her room. She had swept it for listening devices and set up a signal jammer, just in case. The Galactic Academy is a fraud, she told them, showing her evidence. They take our money and our ideas, then sell our innovations without giving us credit or compensation. Minho's face hardened. I suspected something was wrong when none of the upper-level students ever talk about job placements or graduate research. There are no upper-level students, Ju said. They're actors. The real students either drop out when they run out of money or get expelled when they ask too many questions. Hannah looked sick. My family sold our house to pay my tuition. Mine too, said Ju. But here's what's really interesting. They specifically target humans and other newly spacefaring species. We're new enough to be impressed by basic technology, but advanced enough to have valuable ideas. We need to tell someone, Hannah insisted. Who? Minho asked. The director. The Galactic Council that probably doesn't even know this station exists. Ju closed her eyes, thinking hard. We need more evidence, and we need a plan. She pulled out her tablet again and brought up the director's schedule. Tomorrow, Kim is meeting with representatives from a corporation called Vexor Industries. The meeting description says, Quarterly Acquisition Review. We need to know what happens in that meeting, Minho said. Ju nodded, and I know just how to find out. The air vent was cramped, and Ju's knees ached as she crawled through the narrow passage. The maintenance maps she had downloaded showed this vent running directly above Conference Room C, where Director Kim was meeting with the Vexor Industries representatives. Below her, voices became clearer. She carefully positioned her small recording device near a vent opening and activated it. The human students are particularly valuable this cycle, Director Kim was saying. Their solutions to practical problems are refreshingly direct. A raspy voice answered. Primitive species often see paths we miss. That is why we value them. Ju held her breath. The voice had the distinctive clicking undertone of the Vexari, a species she had only read about in xenobiology texts. They were known for their advanced technology, but notorious for their lack of original research. The girl from Seoul has provided 3 harvestable concepts already, Director Kim continued. The atmospheric adaptation system alone covered her tuition 4-fold. Good, the Vexari representative replied. The council grows suspicious of our methods. We must extract maximum value before moving our operation. Ju nearly gasped. They were planning to abandon the academy. Later that night, Ju played the recording for Minho and Hannah in Minho's room. They had covered the security camera with a looped image showing Minho studying alone. So the academy is actually run by the Vexari, Hannah whispered. They're famous for buying or stealing technology rather than developing it. And now they're planning to close the school and disappear, added Minho. Probably before any of us can complete our degrees. Ju nodded grimly. I found more in their secure files. They've been running versions of this scam for almost 70 years. When one fake academy gets too much attention, they shut it down and open another. What about the students? Hannah asked. Left stranded, sometimes in debt. There are records of at least 8 previous academies, hundreds of students from dozens of worlds. Minho pounded his fist against the wall in frustration. We've been tricked, all of us. I found a student list from their last operation. Ju continued. I managed to contact one of them. A Centaurian named Kel. He said when their academy suddenly closed for renovations, students were given 2 options. Leave immediately with no refund or transfer to a partner institution that turned out to be a labor camp. The 3 sat in silent shock. The stars outside the window no longer seemed magical to Ju, but cold and distant. We need help, Hannah finally said. We should contact the Galactic Council. Communications are monitored, reminded Minho. And unauthorized external communications are grounds for immediate expulsion. Ju stood up suddenly. I'm going to confront Director Kim. With what we know, he'll have to give us answers. Her friends protested, but Ju's mind was made up. The next morning, she requested a meeting with the director. To her surprise, it was granted immediately. Director Kim's office was impressive, with large windows overlooking the stars. He greeted her with his perfect smile. "Jiwoo Park, one of our brightest students. How can I help you today?" Jiwoo took a deep breath. "I know about Vexor Industries. I know this academy isn't accredited, and I know you're planning to abandon it soon." The smile vanished from Kim's face. He stood and pressed a button on his desk. The windows darkened, and a soft hum indicated sound dampening had been activated. "That's quite an accusation," he said coldly. "Do you have evidence of these fantasies?" Jiwoo pulled out her tablet and played a portion of the recording. Kim's face hardened as he heard his own voice. "I see," he said when the recording finished. "You've been accessing restricted areas and systems. That's a serious violation of Academy rules." "The real violation is what you're doing to the students," Jiwoo countered. Kim's laugh was hollow. "What exactly do you think will happen now? That you'll be some kind of hero? Let me explain your situation." He tapped his desk, and a hologram appeared showing Jiwoo's financial records. "You've signed binding contracts. You owe this institution 42,000 credits for remaining tuition and housing. If you're expelled, which unauthorized surveillance certainly warrants, that debt becomes immediately due." Jiwoo's mouth went dry. "That's not fair." Furthermore, Kim continued as if she hadn't spoken, "Leaving the station requires an exit visa, which only I can authorize. The nearest Earth embassy is 3 systems away." He leaned forward. "So, here are your options. 1. Forget what you think you know. Complete your education, and leave with your worthless degree. Or 2. Face expulsion, crushing debt, and find yourself stranded on this station with no way home." Jiwoo felt cold fear spreading through her chest. She had underestimated how trapped they all were. "What will it be, Ms. Park?" Kim asked with a thin smile. "A future with a mediocre education, or no future at all?" Jiwoo stood on shaky legs. "I need time to think." "Wise," replied Kim. "You have until tomorrow to decide. And Jiwoo, if you speak to anyone about this conversation, option 2 becomes your only option. Immediately." As she left the office, Jiwoo's mind raced. Their situation was far worse than she had imagined. Kim wasn't just threatening her education, he was threatening her freedom. Jiwoo sat cross-legged on her bed, surrounded by her friends. Her meeting with Director Kim had left her shaken, but not defeated. "He thinks he has all the power," she told Minho and Hannah. "But we have something he doesn't expect." "What's that?" asked Minho. "Actual human ingenuity," Jiwoo said with a small smile. "Not the kind they steal and sell." They worked through the night, planning their response. By morning, they had a strategy that was simple but risky. "The key is the emergency protocols," Jiwoo explained. "During any station emergency, 3 things happen. Security locks disengage to allow evacuation, communication channels open to all sections, and the escape vessels activate automatically." "But we can't just create an emergency," Hannah pointed out. "People could get hurt." "We won't create a real emergency," Jiwoo assured her. "Just the appearance of one." The next day, they put their plan in motion. Minho entered the chemistry lab during the quiet period between classes. He was supposed to be working on an independent study project, one of the few genuine learning opportunities the Academy offered. He carefully mixed 2 compounds that, according to the lab manual, would create a harmless but impressive smoke reaction. What the Academy didn't know was that Minho had actually studied chemistry on Proxima Centauri, and he knew exactly how to make the reaction look far more dangerous than it was. At precisely 14:30, a series of loud pops echoed from the chemistry lab, followed by clouds of purple smoke that poured into the corridor. Emergency alarms began to blare. "Containment breach in Laboratory Section 7, announced the automated system. "All personnel evacuate to safe zones." Staff members rushed toward the lab while students moved in the opposite direction. In the confusion, Jiwoo slipped into a maintenance corridor and headed for the communications hub. The hub was normally heavily guarded, but the emergency had drawn the security personnel away. Using the access codes she had discovered during her late-night hacking, Juwu entered the empty room. The communications array was impressive, one of the few genuinely advanced systems in the Academy. Juwu's hands flew over the control panel, bypassing security protocols and establishing a connection to the Galactic Council's emergency channel. "I hope someone's listening," she muttered as she uploaded her evidence package. Financial records, fake credentials, recordings of the Vexari meetings, and testimonials from former students she had contacted secretly. Meanwhile, Hana had gathered 20 trusted students in the East Wing. "Listen carefully," she told them. "The Academy is a fraud. We've been scammed, and they plan to abandon us soon." Some looked skeptical, others angry. A Rigelian student raised her hand. "I suspected something was wrong when my molecular design was used in a commercial product without my permission." "Exactly," Hana nodded. "But right now, we need to focus on getting out of here. This emergency is our chance." She divided them into teams and assigned each to secure one of the Academy's 5 escape vessels, small ships designed to transport students to safety in case of a station disaster. Back in communications, Juwu's heart raced as she prepared to broadcast. Her message was simple but powerful. "To the Galactic Council and all civilized worlds. This is Juwu Park broadcasting from the fraudulent Galactic Academy of Advanced Sciences. We, the students, have discovered this institution is an illegal operation run by Vexari corporations to steal intellectual property from developing worlds. We have attached evidence of their crimes. We request immediate assistance. This station is located at coordinates." She hit the broadcast button. Her message and evidence package shot across all emergency channels, reaching thousands of ships, stations, and planets instantly. The door behind her hissed open. Director Kim stood there, his perfect face twisted with rage. "What have you done?" he demanded. "What you should have expected," Juwu replied, surprising herself with her calmness. "Humans don't give up easily." Kim lunged for the control panel, but Juwu had already locked the system. "It's too late," she told him. "The whole galaxy knows now." A voice came over the station's intercom, Hana's voice. "Attention all students, this is not a drill. The Academy is a fraudulent institution. We have secured escape vessels in Docking Bay 3. Anyone wishing to leave should proceed there immediately." Kim's communicator buzzed urgently. "Sir," came a panicked voice. "Students are boarding the emergency vessels. Security can't contain them." Juwu stood tall, facing the man who had threatened her just yesterday. "You forgot something important about humans, Director. We learn quickly, especially when we're being cheated." Kim's hand moved toward what looked like a weapon at his belt, but before he could grab it, the station shuddered. Emergency lights flashed. "Warning," announced the automated system. "Unauthorized departure of station vessels 2 and 4. Hana's plan was working. The escape ships were leaving. "You can't escape," Kim hissed. "The station's defense systems will disable those vessels." Juwu smiled. "I don't think so. I took the liberty of reprogramming those systems while I was here. The defense grid thinks those ships are authorized emergency responders." Another violent shudder rocked the station. "You should know," Juwu added. "I also sent your coordinates to the Galactic Council Enforcement Division. I believe their fastest ships can be here within the hour." The look of fear that crossed Director Kim's perfect face was the most genuine expression Juwu had seen from him yet. The Galactic Council ship, Justice Seeker, dwarfed the Academy station as it docked. Officers in blue uniforms streamed inside, securing all areas within minutes. Juwu, Minho, and Hana watched from the main hall, exhausted but relieved. Chief Investigator Teller, a tall Arcturian with silver skin, approached them. "You 3 have caused quite a stir in council chambers," she said. Her translator gave her voice a musical quality. "This case has become our highest priority. Over the next few days, the truth emerged. Council investigators uncovered records of the Vexari operation dating back nearly a century. The fake academy had been just one of many schemes to steal ideas from developing worlds. Juwu sat in the station's main conference room, now repurposed as an investigation center. She watched as Director Kim was brought in, his hands bound. "Is he really Vexari?" she asked Chief Teller. "No," the investigator replied. "He is something far stranger. Medical scans show he is a bioengineered human, created specifically for this role." Juwu felt a chill. Created. The Vexari excel at biological manipulation. They created him to appear trustworthy to human students. His memories were implanted. He truly believed he was Director Doyeon Kim. Later that day, the students gathered to hear from council representatives. The main hall, once used for fake graduation ceremonies, now held 300 confused and angry students from 24 worlds. "The Galactic Council apologizes for your experience," announced Counselor Nex, a respected diplomat. "The Vexari criminals have been detained. Their assets have been seized." A Centaurian student stood up. "What about our money, our time, and our ideas that were stolen?" added another. The room erupted in shouted questions and demands. Juwu noticed something interesting. The human students were the loudest, the most insistent on answers and compensation. Counselor Nex raised her hands for quiet. "The council has never faced a fraud of this magnitude. We are uncertain how to proceed." Juwu stood. The room fell silent. "We don't want just apologies," she said clearly. "We want justice and restitution. The companies that bought our stolen ideas should pay us. We want our tuition returned. And we want real education opportunities to replace what was stolen from us." "Those are significant demands," the counselor replied, looking uncomfortable. "They are reasonable demands," Juwu countered. "Would your world accept anything less?" The council members whispered among themselves. Finally, Nex nodded slowly. "You make a valid point. The council will consider your requests." 2 weeks later, Juwu stood on the observation deck of a real university, Centauri Prime, one of the most prestigious in the galaxy. Through the massive window, she could see the blue-green beauty of Proxima Centauri below. Students from dozens of species walked the halls, engaged in actual learning. Minho joined her, grinning. "Have you seen the xenobiology lab? They have actual living specimens, and the instructors know what they're talking about." "It's still hard to believe," Juwu said. "Full scholarships for all of us." Hannah approached, holding her new student tablet. "Did you see the announcement? The council just passed the new education oversight protocols. They're calling it the Park Standard." Juwu blushed. "They didn't need to name it after me. We all worked together." "But it was your idea to broadcast to the whole galaxy," Minho pointed out. "And you stood up to the council when everyone else was just shouting." Hannah's tablet chimed. "Look, the financial settlements just came through. Everyone's getting full refunds, plus compensation for the stolen ideas. The Vexari corporations must be furious." Minho laughed. "They're more than furious," came a voice behind them. They turned to see Professor Landry, their new xenopolitics instructor. "You three have become something of a sensation across the galaxy, especially among the older species." "What do you mean?" asked Juwu. "The Vexari and others have long considered newly spacefaring races to be easy targets," Landry explained. "Humans in particular were thought to be naive. Your actions have changed that perception dramatically." That evening, Juwu received a message from Chief Investigator Teller. "The council wanted me to inform you that your actions have led to the discovery of 17 other fraudulent operations targeting developing worlds. Your broadcast inspired others to come forward. The galaxy owes you a debt of gratitude." Juwu smiled as she closed the message. Outside her window, the unfamiliar stars of the Centauri system shone brightly. She had dreamed of studying among these stars, and now she really was, not in a fake academy, but in a place of true learning. On her desk sat a small crystal award presented by the Galactic Council. Its inscription read, "To Juwu Park, whose courage and determination established a new standard of educational integrity across the galaxy." She had paid 50,000 credits for a fake education. Instead, she had received something far more valuable: the knowledge that humans had something special to offer the galaxy after all. Not just their ideas, but their unwillingness to accept injustice, their determination in the face of challenges, and their demand for fair treatment. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans might be newcomers to the stars, but they would not be easily fooled or pushed aside. They were here to stay, and they would help shape this vast community of worlds for the better. Retriclaude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.